I don't think today's young people in general have much of a concept of history. I think that the technology that's available today and the speed of change and the capacity of that technology to document and communicate that change means that tradition has become less and less relevant to people's everyday lives. It means that history, beyond its impact as historical fact, has become less and less relevant because change takes place so fast, whether it's music, whether it's lifestyle, whether it's clothing, whether it's standards of decency, of beauty, of what have you. It changes so fast and it is communicated instantaneously. So the reality is that history has less and less functional relevance to the lives of people. I've talked to athletes that have come into the NFL back at the draft, at the combine, when I'm interviewing athletes, about the great athletes in this league who've played their position. Very, very seldom can I find anyone who can name more than one or two, and most of them can only name those athletes who are current today. So when you start talking about Raymond Berry as a wide receiver, when you start talking about Willie Gallimore, the Chicago Bears, as a running back, when you begin to talk about the greats of the past, they don't have any idea. And this even goes for some of the heroes of sports. When I was in the office of the commissioner of Major League Baseball, Peter Ueberroth was the commissioner, and I was in that office for 5 years. I remember talking to players at an all-star game and talking to some of the young players about the great athletes of the past, the black athletes in particular, and what obligation they felt and so forth as far as those athletes were concerned. These were young black athletes. And one athlete, I asked him, well, could you tell me who Jackie Robinson was and what position he played, what he's really remembered for outside of baseball, and whether or not he's in the Baseball Hall of Fame? His response was, don't know, don't care, and don't even take me there. I don't want to be bothered with that. and was sincere about it. Was irrelevant to his life as far as he was concerned. Has a multi-million-dollar contract. He's at the All-Star game. He's an All-Star. Why are you bringing up some dead guy? That was basically his position. So today, history and tradition has become less and less relevant in the lives of these athletes, and they show it all the time. The dancing and the celebrating and so forth in the end zone back in Jim Brown's day. Back in the day when guys respected the traditions and history of the game and so forth. They get into the end zone, and as Bill Walsh used to say, they would act like they had been there before. These young people don't know anything about that. And it's not the exuberance of a Billy White Shoes Johnson, who was the first one to dance in the end zone, or a Homer Jones, who was the first one to spike a football, where black athletes had come through so much for so long to get to that level where they were respected. They got into the end zone, and just walking over and handing the ball to the referee didn't express that. And so Billy White Shoes Johnson started dancing, out of sheer exuberance. Homer Jones spiked the ball. This was at a time when, if you found 12 black players on a roster of 45 NFL players on a team, it was like, wow. You had teams like the Washington Redskins that didn't have any blacks at all. And there were no football franchises in the South at all. And black athletes had to climb that ladder. And so that was an exuberant, spontaneous kind of thing that Homer Jones did, that Billy White Shoes Johnson did. Now, hey, they're pulling phones out from under goalposts, signing, pulling Sharpies out of their socks, doing all other kind of things. And as far as the tradition, well, what about respect for the traditions of the game? What about the guys whose shoulders you stand on? They don't know anything about that. And on top of it, they don't see it as relevant. What is relevant is the now. What is relevant is the me. They don't realize that even though they have their eyes focused on the horizon, they're standing on the shoulders of people who paid a hell of a price for them to stand that high. So to that extent, it's not their fault, although understanding the traditions of this great game and understanding the price that was paid for them to be able to play this game and make the money that they're making and have the presence that they have, it's not their fault that they have no appreciation of that, but it is their responsibility.